3, the 2, 1,
2, 3, go. Center camera. Hello. Oh,
Center?
it's back.
Farrell's messing with me right
change
now. Welcome to Great Stories Pop Culture Talk. It is I, Chris Mills, with Tyler Hamel.
Once again.
My main man, once again. By the way, we didn't really coordinate on our outfits today, but I will say that I almost showed up in the same shirt that Tyler has on right now.
Would have been awkward.
That would have been awkward, yeah. So really happy that didn't happen. Changed at the last minute.
Someone had to turn their shirt inside out, and it was not going to be him.
And but anyway, it is November. We're actually one day past Halloween, and
the 1st of November.
The 1st of November, yep. And All Souls Day. Is that what this is? Is this All Souls Day?
I think
it is. Anyway, so I was trying to think about, like, all right, so what are some of the cool topics that generally around this time of year, kind of come to mind, right? We want to have something that's a little bit relevant. Obviously, there's been a little bit of a entertainment's been on the back burner, so to speak, right? Because of COVID, there hasn't been a wealth of new stuff that comes out, but football's back, and I mean, Thanksgiving's the next big holiday coming up, and
football is a huge topic.
Football is a huge topic. I forgot my football today, by the way.
You were going to bring a football?
I did bring something else because I was going to pumpkin bomb Ken. So here we go. Look at that.
I'm just going to catch it.
There we go.
Nice.
That's like the old Brady to Edelman connection right there.
Oh, yes.
Wait, give me a Gronk. Give me a Gronk. Oh, not a Gronk fan, are you?
Was I supposed to catch it?
I think you were, but I don't know. So anyway, yep, out with the old, in with the new. So Thanksgiving's coming up, and what better topic than let's talk football movies?
Yeah, because, we don't generally talk about sports. We do talk about movies a lot.
We do talk about movies a lot.
And while I am not the biggest of sports ball fan, I do like sports ball movies.
You do like sports ball movies?
I actually do, yeah.
Now, for me, back in the day, I'm going to harken back to 1984. I'm really dating myself here, truly. I was 11 years old.
Okay.
And one of the memories that I have was going over to, my parents brought me to some stranger's house. I don't know who it was. I can't even remember. I don't know if it was like an aunt,
I hope
like a distant relative. But I ended up having to go out in the yard and play by myself because I just had nothing else to do.
Right.
But they did have a football. So I was playing these mock football games where I'd throw the ball to myself. I'd throw the ball really high and just run and catch it and dive and pretend I was some sports hero. And at that house, when it got dark, I went inside and I watched a movie which I had the best memories of this movie. And it wasn't a very good movie in the end, but at the time, I loved it.
When you were a little kid and you didn't know any better?
I guess so. I was only 11 years old. I was playing Pop Warner football at the time, and I was watching this movie called Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Yeah. Yep. No. Yeah. It's
idea.
Well, there's a reason why you haven't heard of it because it wasn't very good.
Okay.
At the end of the day, but it was about this football owner who decided to restore an old train. But so football was a major aspect of the movie, but.
Oh, you really went subversive with this
I really did.
theme.
I did. But I had a ball with it, It was like, yeah, no, I know, Punisher again. Here we go. I'm sorry. But that same year, there was an HBO series. We just got cable TV. HBO was, something that my parents bought into. And even though I probably wasn't supposed to watch this show because I think it was a little bit on the edge, a little more R-rated, but I used to sneak, you know.
As one does.
There was a show called First and 10 on that channel.
Which I think is a sports ball term.
It is a sports ball term, yes. And it actually starred, one of the things that sticks out to me, it was, episodal, ran 7 seasons, and it had, you ever see the Revenge of the Nerds movie?
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
Do you remember Ogre from Revenge of the
yeah.
Nerds? Yes, well, He is, I mean, he played a frat boy football player, right, in Revenge of the Nerds. He was in First and 10, and he always had that, like, that great look because he had that, like, one eye that kind of went this way a little
Off to
bit.
the side.
So, yeah, exactly. But that's the thing I remember. But it was like anything football, I just ate it up as a kid. I really did, you know.
Excellent.
And so I thought, what better than to share some of our favorite sports ball, but not just
in
sports
particular
ball.
football for
Football.
the month of November.
Exactly, you know, because I'm sure maybe we'll do this in the future and have we'll cover the other sports, you know, and show them some love.
Yeah, because you're a hockey fan too.
I am a hockey guy, so yeah, that's definitely my number one sport.
I played a little basketball. Can't wait to talk about Space Jam.
We could do all that stuff, but let's talk about our favorite football movies.
Okay.
Now I know you had one in particular. I think we're going to end up. We settled on like 3 to kind of discuss a little bit. But would you care to share your
favorite football movie of all time? Ever since I was a little kid, I was a huge fan of the movie Remember the Titans. It was a Denzel Washington movie. Back in high school, I actually my nickname. I was nicknamed after a character in the movie named Ronnie, who went by the nickname Sunshine. That's because in high school, I looked like Sunshine. Like in the gym, that was my name. There was this one day, I was out for the day and I came back, and one of the other guys is like, "Man, where were you yesterday?" I was like, I had a thing. I think it was like a doctor's appointment, something like that. And I was like, yeah, so I was out. He was like, "Man, we were all just walking around. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone." I'm like, "Oh, come on, dude." And he sang the whole dang song to me.
Yep.
I was like, "You're a nutter." But yeah, so Remember the Titans, hands down, favorite football movie of all time. And it's the reason why, which is the reason why I like sports movies, is because sports movies tend to be more about the message rather than the sport itself. They use the sport as the medium through which they teach these awesome lessons. And in this particular lesson was that of prejudice, breaking down the prejudices between white and black Americans.
Yes.
Because for those of you who have not seen the movie, and if you haven't, you need to go watch it immediately. This is a movie that takes place during desegregation.
Yep.
The setting is that it's this school. It's one of the first schools to desegregate.
Alexandria, Virginia.
Yep.
Yep.
And so the school brings in a black American named Herman Boone to be the new head coach of the football team.
Yep.
And the reason why they want to do this is because they're trying to encourage this idea of desegregation.
Yes.
And this, of course, regulates the white coach, Coach Yost, to backup captain.
Played by the great
coach.
Will Patton, by the way.
Yes. Awesome cast, by the way. Hayden Panettiere is in it as Coach Boone's young daughter. Absolutely great character, pretty much drives the story and narrates a little bit of it.
Yep.
And then you have like Donald Faison from Scrubs. You have a young Ryan Gosling.
Yep.
Absolutely awesome. And yeah, just awesome cast. And so what happens is Coach Boone, understanding that there's a lot more on the line than just, trying to desegregate a school. This is about taking the younger generation of Americans and putting them in a situation where they can learn that there is more to being a human being than just your skin color. That these prejudices needed to go out the door and allow for all people, all Americans to live equally. And so he takes these his former black football players and these white football players, and he basically brings them together and forces them to play together in a way where they have to rely on one another in order to effectively play this game. And it's the whole movie is just absolutely wonderful in the way that you get to watch these students put their prejudices aside and come together as a team and in the end as a family and watch how the I'm getting flustered talking about this because I cry every time I watch this movie.
Yeah.
It's that like.
It's a weighty emotional film.
It is.
Sure.
It really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they overcome these prejudices that, you know, for a while they go away to a camp and they're made to you know, room with one another and learn about each other, and you know, they go through all this intense training. The coach brings them down to an old Civil War battlefield and describes what happened on the battlefield. This is, you know, a place where the blacks had started. This was a turning point in the Civil War, where, like, you know, Black Americans were becoming actual American citizens.
Yes.
This was the beginning of that process, you know, and they come together, and then they get thrown back into this world that was still fighting, that was still, you know, not okay with this idea of desegregation. And now that they had like a genuine connection with one another, and they had to face the potential of that connection being severed by the old ways, you know, and it shows a lot of the difficulty at that time, a lot of things that you faced both as a Black American and as a Black sympathizer, you know.
Sure.
You know, white Americans that understood that people are people, and that your skin color doesn't matter, and that it's time to change.
Yeah.
So as a young kid, that was huge for me. You know, just getting to watch that. I've always had a very diverse group of friends. So it's even at a young age, I didn't really understand the concept of like race being an issue, because we've always I've had people like friends from all over all walks of life since a young kid. So watching this movie and realizing like that this was at one point an issue, and then getting to watch that, you know, how that changed over time, and how far we've come since then, how much further we still have to go, and this movie perfectly exemplifies it, and it uses football as the perfect medium to create this change, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, I think you seized upon a really cool aspect of a lot of sports films, and you know, sports films, I guess by nature, you know, you're not writing like the writers of these movies are often writing something it's extremely reality based.
Yeah.
So which creates more relatable characters, but also if it were just about the sport itself, I think, you know, obviously we could just watch a football game on Sunday, and you would get what you needed out of it. But they tend to use the sports films as a backdrop, like you said, for a larger message.
Yeah.
And with that, you know, one of my picks was a movie called We Are Marshall, starring Matthew McConaughey. Which takes place in a similar area, like right in the mid-Atlantic states there. Actually, West Virginia is not exactly an Atlantic state, but next door neighbor to Alexandria, Virginia. In the early 70s, the team at Marshall University, they experienced, or I don't know if it's a college or a university, so if I misspoke, I apologize. But they had their entire football team was basically, not the entire football team, but 70 people were killed in a plane crash after a football game on their return flight. And basically it was, I believe, 37 members of their football team, all this, you know, and then the rest were staff and also volunteer helpers for the team. It was a major tragedy. Completely shook, you know, Huntington, West Virginia, where the school is, and the school had to face this choice, or you know, to basically give up everything, you know, to say like, all right, football is done for the year, we can't go on, or to persevere under very extraordinary circumstances. And so, you know, it's a movie really about the heart of that college community, really. And, you know, because I mean, to come back from something like that horrible tragedy,
Yeah.
you know, how do you honor the people who are no longer with you, right? Do you give it up? You know, do you somehow carry on in their memory? And that's exactly what they did. You know, they had walk-ons from all these different sports come on and fill the team.
Yeah.
And you know, they shook it off. Like it was the iron will that it took for the surviving members of the football team. I believe there were only 18 members of the football team that had survived. They weren't on the plane that came back.
That's a small, like 18 sounds like a lot of players, but for football, that's not very many players.
No. And so they came back and they did it. You know, and the story is just like one of those like uplifting ones, you know, that you just really need. Like you get this tragedy and then it just brings you so high by the end that these, you know, kids and the community and the coaches all pull together and are able to, you know, create victory from, you know, the jaws of such tragedy, you know, and so that, you know, movies like Remember the Titans and, you know, We Are Marshall, they drive those types of feelings, and I think they're very uplifting, and they're solid messages, and they're actually extremely relatable, because we all deal with tragedy, we all deal with adversity, you know, and a lot of us struggle to find ways to overcome our personal battles, and you know, to be able to look to very real situations. I mean, these are historical, real situations. This is not some imaginary, you know, Hollywood screenwriter just coming up with some fantastical story. You know, we need those too. Don't get me wrong. But we need to see and be reminded that people can overcome no matter what their situation. And so We Are Marshall, you know, for me as a football movie, that was my go-to. And ironically, I saw that one on a plane. I don't know if that was
that was probably not the
not the best choice from the airline to be showing that movie. By the way, I don't know who made that decision.
It's a plot driven by a plane crash.
Yeah.
It's like watching snakes on a plane on a plane.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, but it really is a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check that one out. We have another one that's kind of a shared one that ended up, I think we wanted to discuss, and it's completely not reality based, right? And that's our good friend Bobby Boucher.
Yeah.
What can we say about Bobby Boucher?
You know, Bobby Boucher, he's a young boy.
Yeah. What type of boy?
He's special needs, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
But specifically, what role does he play?
He is the water boy.
The water boy, yes. So the water boy, starring Adam Sandler.
Yep.
Bobby Boucher, and the great Kathy Bates, by the way.
Oh yeah, love Kathy Bates.
Yes.
Fantastic actress. Absolutely love her.
And what can we say about this movie?
So, for those of you who hasn't seen it, which I don't know why you wouldn't have by now.
Right. Anyone without a funny bone might not have seen this movie.
That's true. There are some people that have absolutely no sense of humor, and I'm sorry that you have to live your life in that, because it's terrible. I can't even imagine not having a sense of humor. Sorry if I offend you. Oh wait,
no.
So Bobby Boucher is this young boy that he works as the water boy for the local university's football team. He is a very sheltered young boy whose dad ran out on him when he was younger, and because of that, his mom is very, very overprotective. She says everything, quite including foosball, is for the devil.
Is for the devil. Yep.
But through a small encounter where one of the players was messing with his water, because he's a water enthusiast, he's the water boy, he likes making sure that every player has some nice fresh water, and when one of the players comes over and as a
Gatorade.
joke spits into the water cooler.
Oh yes, spits in the water cooler.
Bobby
yes.
gets upset and he runs out and he tackles the guy, and he tackles this brutish player with just such ferocity that the coach immediately is like, oh, we need him.
Who's the coach played by the way?
Oh, Father from Happy Days. What's his name? I can never remember.
Fonzie.
Was it a Fonzie? It was a Fonzie. Are you sure?
Henry Winkler.
Oh yeah. Wow. Why did I think he was the dad?
Because
I guess
Fonzie got old.
He did age pretty quickly.
Yep.
That's true.
Yes.
True. I didn't make the connection until now. I'm like, wait.
That's all right.
No, okay.
That's the beauty of Adam Sandler films, though, is like you've got all these like personal close friends of his, you know, or people that they all show up in like
that. Some people don't like
the
that
same movies.
About Adam Sandler. They
Really?
they'll say every time he makes a new film, it's just a vacation for him and all of his friends. But they make some pretty entertaining stories together.
They do.
Like they're a good team.
Yeah.
So I got no problem with it whatsoever. But yeah, so the whole cast and crew are there.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a story about this young boy who's trying to hide the fact that he's going to this college and playing football from his mom, and just the shenanigans that they get into along the way.
Yeah.
And it's a hilarious film.
It is a hilarious film. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, got to check it out. If you have seen it, you should watch it again, clearly, because it's
I might go home and watch
awesome.
it right now.
Yeah, right? I'm going to make my wife watch it. What do you think she's going to say? She's one of those people without one of these, though.
What are you talking about? She has quite a strong sense of humor.
She won't after tonight, after seeing this one.
Maybe towards you. I think she's hilarious.
You are quite a smart man, Tyler. You've endeared yourself to her.
It's the only reason why I'm still here.
So, a couple other little picks. I know you had a couple other ones.
Two other movies that I thought was fantastic. And they're very similarly, is that a word? I don't know.
Similar?
Similarly related to one another. So
I think you're making up words now.
Well, I like it. I'm keeping it.
Wordsmithing over here with Tyler Hamel.
Yes. Yeah, they're very similar to each other.
Yep.
Both of them involve stories about inmates.
Yep.
So you have The Longest Yard in particular. The one that I'm talking about is the Adam Sandler one.
Because there are two versions, right?
Yep.
So, yep.
The
I was going to say the Burt Reynolds version, but they both have Burt Reynolds.
Yes, except Burt Reynolds plays a different character in each one.
Correct.
In this newer one, he is kind of like the backup coach.
Yes.
And he does have an opportunity to actually play in the last game on the last play. So there's a nice moment in there for him.
Yep.
But so this Longest Yard is about a former football player, professional football player named Crew, played by, again, Adam Sandler.
Yep.
Although this one's a little bit more serious than Waterboy. And he ends up going to prison, and it's well known that he, as a football player, likely shaved points, meaning he intentionally threw a game in order to, for whatever reason he might have it. And this makes him extremely unpopular, especially with a lot of the inmates. And so now the warden tries to coax him into putting together a inmate team to basically play and be beaten by the guards professional team, because the guards play in a professional guards league. And the warden wants someone for the guards to be able to basically play against, just practice and warm up. Not really ever expecting it to turn into anything, or especially not for the inmates to be able to win anything. And as the plot progresses, they get into a situation where essentially this massive event is getting televised, where the inmates are gonna play in a final game against the guards. And Crew has decided he's got to make up for this event where he did in fact shave these points. In order to make up for that, he decides they're going to win this game. And the warden's not having any of that. And it's a great film, absolutely hilarious. Lots of good, wholesome jokes in there. Lots of good, not so wholesome jokes in there.
Yeah.
But it's a great film.
Yeah.
I noted earlier conversation off camera that the captain of the guards team and the head of the guards at the prison, his character has some awesome development where
Yep.
he goes from basically this guy that's very plays by the rules. He's the warden's like top guy, and in the end he ends up helping out crew when he realizes just to what ridiculous extent the warden goes to try and take crew down.
Yep.
And then the other one is the Gridiron Gang, which this particular, because I think there might be other iterations of the Gridiron Gang as well.
There might be. I've only seen one.
Yeah,
the one that you're mentioning
one
right
with
now. Yep.
Dwayne Johnson,
Yep.
which again, it's an awesome commentary, much more serious.
Yep.
It's about juvenile delinquents,
Yep.
where he basically he becomes part of a football program for this juvenile center, and he's got all these young guys.
Yep.
Most of them there from being picked up off the streets from the city, and it deals with a lot of issues within our juvenile detention centers, issues that are still a massive problem today, and he attempts to basically help these young boys learn to trust, learn to take responsibility, and grow and develop as men, and become people that can integrate into society. And he again uses the medium of football
Yep.
to teach them these lessons.
Yep. Those are a couple of good picks. I also would encourage people. I have a couple additional ones myself. Invincible is one of them. Invincible is about undrafted guy from the streets in Philadelphia, played by Mark Wahlberg. It's a true story, and basically comes onto the Philadelphia Eagles football team and actually makes something of himself. Vincent Pasquale, I believe was his name. I highly recommend that one. It's another good, uplifting movie about just like this Joe Average, basically, and how Joe Average became something. Actually, I know we're not supposed to talk about hockey right now, but it kind of almost reminded me of something that actually happened in the last hockey season, where one of the NHL teams, I believe it was the Chicago Blackhawks, experienced a situation where both their goalies were unavailable to play on a given night, and they called in a guy who was, I believe, a lawyer by trade, out of the stands, a season ticket holder, and apparently he was on retainer as an emergency goalie option for them. But he's just this guy, this normal guy, and they actually brought him in, and he played a game with the Chicago Blackhawks and actually didn't even give up a goal in a professional hockey game, which is, so it was kind of like, so this Vincent Pasquale guy, like, it's that type of a story, like, this guy came from nothing, no one knew anything about it. I mean, he might have been like some neighborhood, big
some
guy,
local
right?
legend, like, oh yeah,
Local
this guy,
legend.
Yeah, you don't want to play against him on the streets. Nah, he's way
Yeah.
too good. That kind of guy. Yeah.
Exactly, but here he is. He gets into the big time, right? And it's a great story, and Mark Wahlberg does a great job with that particular role.
Mark always does.
He does,
Talking-
especially when he
talking
talks
about
to
local
animals.
Legends.
Mark Wahlberg talks to animals. That's SNL, though. We won't go there.
Hey there, dog. Good to see you. Doing great, thanks.
Yeah.
Say hi to your mother.
Say hi to your mother for me. The other one is a guy named Quentin Aaron and Sandra Bullock.
Yes, Blindside.
The Blind Side, yes. And another really great football movie with a good message. It's Sandra Bullock plays a parent to Quentin Aaron's, I can't remember his name in the movie, but he's an adopted child.
Yep.
And of course, this is now a mixed race family. And basically, Quentin Aaron's character becomes kind of a big deal, right? And and it tells a lot about, to your point earlier about dealing with the struggles of being kind of maybe in a mixed race situation and that kind of thing. But another solid, great movie with a great message. And then lastly, there's Gus, the mule. No, I'm just kidding. It's not a very good movie. Don Knotts is in it. You're like, what's Gus? Gus is a mule that kicks field goals. I think it's 1974 or something like that. I don't know if it was Disney. I don't know.
See, I was gonna say Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura. Wait,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
is the football connection with Ace Ventura? Oh,
this-
Laces Out.
Yeah,
Laces Out. Dan. Yes, that's a great callback.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have classified Ace Ventura as a football movie, but that.
Yeah,
But
you
that
know
is a
what?
pretty prolific
People say
moment
that
in
Die
that
Hard
movie.
isn't a Christmas movie too.
That's a
so.
good point, actually. That's a good point. So, what are your favorite football movies? Do you have them? Do you avoid
watch the
the
football?
foosball altogether, or do you are there others that we haven't mentioned here that you enjoy? Give us your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Comment below, and we thank you very much for watching this installment, and we'll be back with you soon.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone.
Very good.
That was good.
Very, very good.